Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to complete the series of videos around questions from you guys, from viewers. So before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and also give this video a thumbs up. And also do leave me a comment below to let me know if the stuff resonates with you, and or just even to say hi, and that's perfectly fine because it's good to know that we have our tribe out there. So all right, so let's move forward. And when I refer to Lorraine, I'll be reading from a transcript, and when I refer to Lorraine, I'm speaking of my hypnotist who did a BQH session in this case. It's beyond, it means beyond quantum healing, and it's a type of qhht hypnosis session, but it's done virtually. So my friend Lorraine did this particular session. Carolyn will be back. If you watch my previous videos, you know Carolyn has been my qhht practitioner, and I love her. She's also a very good friend. So I just thought I would give her a break. She's done a lot of work to help us get this information from the 25th. All right. So, and when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. All right. So let's get started here. Lorraine. Now, a question from Holly Blossom. Hello, Holly. I have a friend who has tried to commit suicide twice in the last 3 months. She's desperate to be out of here. However, keeps being found, admitted, and saved. She's now in a mental hospital and not doing well. If a person wants to go, they will go. But if they keep being saved, then do they want to stay? Or has the essence left the body, as our eyes look different now, and just left an NPC? It's also surreal. This must be tough. So I was happy to actually ask the 25th for feedback on this, because these are difficult situations. So me, yes, these are difficult situations, because what is happening is that the essence might have left the body. It might have chosen for the body to just take itself out, because again, the essence is eager to move on. But there could be agreements that have been made where the other essences really don't want this essence to be gone. The essence will find a way out. And if it comes to leaving the body behind, like in this case, she's saying that she cannot see that there's anybody there anymore, the essence might be gone. And the essence has tried to take the body with it, but it has not been allowed to go. And so the essence has decided, basically, I'm going to go anyway. Essences know what is going on. And a lot of essences don't want to be here for the takedown, again, because they don't want to know that this is a game. And they've had the experience they had on this planet, and it's enough for them. And it's perfectly fine. It is very possible that the people around this body don't want their, we were just talking about this, and they're referring to the previous video. They don't want their experience to be turned upside down. They don't want to deal with that when they're already dealing with everything else. And therefore they want to retain the body. So there might be a new agreement made where, again, the essence leaves and the body stays behind. So we can change anything at any time. And this sounds like this is what happened in this situation. Thank you for that. Okay, Holly also wants to know about how qhht came about. Me. It was time. It was a code. It is a code. We left this code for ourselves. You know, we know of Dolores Cannon. We say she found it, and really, how did she find it? We basically told her to look for this code, and they were laughing. She didn't invent it. There is no inventing anything. And all of a sudden, here we are, because we believe in it. We expect this to be the experience, and we do this thing, and we have that experience. There are people that don't believe in it and might have a hypnosis session because maybe it's offered to them for free or whatever reason. They're like, I'm just going to go see. And they will not be able to be hypnotized, or they will not connect, certainly not with us, but they might not even connect with their higher self. And that's okay, because everybody is going to open up to what they are ready to open up to. So it's not that qhht is magic and it works for everybody the same way. Nothing works that way. Whatever the essence wants to experience is what the essence will experience. However, Dolores Cannon was guided by us, by her higher self, to create this code or to leave this code. And this has been the messaging around this particular code, that it will allow you to connect with your higher self, your subconscious, whatever it must be called for you to accept and to do it. If your higher self is telling you it's time to do it, whatever you want, you have to think about it. However way you have to think about this in order for you to have it, that's what you will think about. And then when you have it, you will have the experience that your higher self has set up for you. So basically nothing happens by chance. This is the, I think this was the gist of this message. Lorraine, great. EDC asked a few questions, but I'm gonna break it down here. He asked multiple questions, and since they are on different topics, then I'm breaking them down. So EDC asked question number 1, are artificial satellites real? Because the Starlink availability map has tiny areas of unavailability. This makes no sense if there are satellites orbiting the Earth. Me. So they're not real the way we think they are. So they are real, but they don't work the way we think they work. They're not like everything else that we've been told about technology. It's not as powerful as we think it is. So yes, while we are told that they work a certain way and they're all seen and they do all these things, they don't. Our technology is just not that advanced. So yeah, that's what he's noticing. He's like, how come? They have black spots and empty spots, and they have, because they're clunky, that's why. They're not, they're nothing like they're trying to tell us that the satellites are gonna do all these things. So yeah, that's why he's just noticing that they're not as powerful or as perfect as we've been told that they are. Lorraine, EDC is also asking, why do satellite dishes point towards the nearest radio tower and not directly up into the sky? Me. Because again, we're being told that the technology works a certain way and it doesn't. And not only, the entire objective is not necessarily what they told us, So they're telling us that these things are up in the sky to facilitate certain things or to create certain webs or certain networks. But the truth is, technology is very, very behind here. So they're pointing to radio antennas because we don't believe we go back to what we explained about electricity. We don't believe in things being easy. We believe in things having to be very contrived and very laborious and very complex. And therefore, we can't just think, oh, we're pointing this thing at the satellites and we're getting all this information from around the world. We really are using very clunky technology. So the satellites are pointing to radio antennas because that's how we're getting some of the information. So it's not as it looks. It's not what we're told. We're not actually being told how these things work. They don't work as well as we think they do. Lorraine, thank you. Second question from EDC. Channeler recently received that we collectively scripted a nuclear bomb explosion, possibly by Russia, possibly in Europe. It is meant to target a dark place and actually be a good thing for us. Did we script this? Will all of this take place? So now I did answer this question in my last live. You can check that out. The reason I wanted to double check this with the 21st is because they might, I figured they might have some additional feedback. So I did want to ask and see what they say. Me, no. This will not take place. It was scripted by some. That's why the information is supposed to be spread. This channeler is spreading it on purpose because she's trying to put it in the mind of the collective so it can happen. But no, people are moving past this stuff. They've been telling us about nuclear explosions since Hiroshima and Nagasaki, really. And no, we're not going to have this. It's just the past. It's the same story over and over. This channeler is not spreading the truth. And I pretty much have said this, but it's interesting that they're saying is that they've basically been trying to put this in the collective since Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so that we have had, in fact, how long have we had? Decades we've had dealing with, and once in a while, okay, there is a threat of a nuclear explosion. It can be very scary because, look at the pictures they've shown us. about when the explosions happened, but no, we're past this, thank God. So tiring and so boring to just be scared all the time. This is definitely something I will not be missing from this planet. I mean, this has just been horrible. Lorraine, okay, what causes cold sores? And again, we did explain this. I did answer this question in the live, but again, I wanted to bring it to the attention on 25th because just in case it was something that I hadn't expressed fully. Me, cold sores are just an experience like everything else. It's an idea. If an essence sees this on somebody else, he thinks, that looks real to me. That looks like something that would make me really feel like I'm in the game without getting like a really big deal disease that might be very inconvenient, and says, cold sore sounds good. It feels real to me. And so they'll take it on. So they're just like everything else. Sorry, guys, my phone is ringing. I thought it was off. Sorry about that. So they're just like everything else. So what causes it is the essence wanting to manifest it. That's what causes anything. There is nothing that is real that gets caused because of a cause outside of the essence's decision to experience it. So he was asking about viruses. Is there a virus for cold sores? Not really. I mean, it's the essence that decides this idea is fetching. It's interesting. I mean, it's madness when you think about stuff from this perspective, but it totally makes sense. Lorraine, thank you. Now, EDC did ask another question about bipolar disorder, but I've already answered this question in a previous video in the series of viewers' questions answered. So if you haven't watched that video, it's going to be, I believe it was the second or the third of the series, and this is going to be the fourth video. So we'll move on to the next question from EDC, which is, what is the diameter of our sun in kilometers or miles? Because globe earthers think our sun is huge and flat earthers think it's tiny. So I was curious to ask this question because I have no idea about any of the measurements, and I have no idea. I don't even know how big our planet is supposed to be. So I'm like, let me see what the 25th says, because I still doubt sometimes. I'm like, I don't know this question. But again, the beauty of it is that I've learned to just go with the flow, because I don't have to know, these answers are not coming from me. So that for me, because we all always doubt ourselves, that for me is very helpful to get questions like these where I have absolutely no clue. So there's no chance I would even be able to make it up. So it just makes me feel like my connection is strong. It just confirms to me, because again, the 3D brain is really, it's tough. The ego mind is tough to overcome. All right, so again, what is the diameter of our sun in kilometers or miles? Me. So I am getting, and I have no idea if this makes even any sense, because I don't know if this is small or big, I'm getting 20,000 kilometers. I have no idea what that means. It's not tiny. It is not a tiny sun. What does it mean that it's huge? I don't know what the diameter of the earth is. So yeah, Lorraine, the earth is around 24,000 kilometers or 24,000 miles around the earth. Me. Yeah, so I guess it is huge compared to the earth. I don't know. I'm getting 20,000 kilometers is what it is. And the thing is, the size doesn't really matter, right? Because nothing works in a certain way because it has to work in that way. Nothing works in a way because it has to work that way. Everything works the way it works because we decided this is how we're going to make this work. So anyway, there is no flat earth, unless again, you look at it from a perspective of everything is a hologram. So you can think of it as everything, not just the earth. Everything in the multiverse is just a plane. You can think of it that way, but truly from a physical perspective, from the way this was set up, the planet is round. And so the sun also has a diameter. So a lot of things, I know we like the conspiracy theories, but a lot of things really are the way we think they are from a 3D perspective, which doesn't mean that's the only way to think about that, but they also are that way. Lorraine, great. So he wants to know, are other planets like Jupiter spherical or habitable? Me, is Jupiter habitable? I'm getting that it is actually, yes, it is, because we don't have to look to inhabit a planet. We don't have to look a certain way. We don't have to have humanoid shapes. So for example, we could have a Jupiter-like planet on your Earth, and we, since we will be able to take any form we like, we will be able to live there. We don't have to have a particular type of atmosphere for us to live there. We set up New Earth a certain way because we enjoy it. It reminds us of this planet, how it was in the beginning. So Jupiter is different, but it doesn't mean it's uninhabitable. There are many civilizations that don't even have bodies. Anybody can live on any planet, really. It's just a matter of how you want to look there, what kind of form you want to take. So yes, I'm getting that Jupiter is habitable. And I'm actually getting that Jupiter is inhabited. That's what they're saying. It's actually inhabited right now. So I hope PDC that answers your question. You said it would make you very happy to know this. So I'm happy that they shared some of this information with us. Okay, so a question from DJ. There is a laser event that is supposed to happen in the US, Canada, and Mexico when the majority shifts. There will also be an earthquake in India and many natural catastrophes when the first shift happens. Is any of this true? And if so, when will the majority shift? Me. So the majority will not awaken, if that's what he's asking. First of all, there is no majority. It's about half going to 3D who chose to sleep. So there's no awakening there. And they're almost all gone. And the rest going to hang out with the aliens. They don't all have to awaken to do that. They don't all have to be aware while they're here what's going on. So there is not going to be a majority shift. I understand that a lot of people are hoping for that. This goes hand in hand with the idea of ascension, that eventually this awakening is happening at our collective level. And this is just not the case. We are beyond the 11th hour. We're really at the 12th hour. It's all done now. So there is nobody changing anything. Nobody's doing anything different from what they have chosen. And therefore, there is no shift. These events he's talking about, the laser event, it might have been that somebody picked up on the idea of these holograms that were going to be created because of the aliens, or the fact that they would still like to create holographic events around the aliens, the alien ships, when they start becoming more prominent, more visible to many people. But it's not an event. It's not an actual event. And it won't happen. We're not going to have this. The catastrophes we're talking about, we already talked about the fact that a lot of these natural events are natural, but also in some places have been engineered to be more lethal than what they could have been, with good reason in the case of the floods in Australia. But it's not going to be tragic, like we're not going to have like another tsunami, for example, that kills 500,000 people, whatever they told us, which in reality, they're telling me it wasn't 500,000 people. It was much less than that. But basically, we're not going to have events like that. We don't have much time left. And Gaia is trying to keep everything as stable as possible, even though she's getting antsy and ready to move forward. So we'll make a personal note here. I don't know if you guys know, I don't know if I've shared this before. I actually survived the tsunami of 2004, which was the first tsunami that put the word tsunami on the map for the West, basically. It's the one that we were told killed between 300 and 500,000 people in Southeast Asia. It was on Phi Phi, basically. It's an island in the middle of the Pacific, and it's an island that belongs to Thailand. At the time, the entire island was wiped away. Again, I talked about this in my book, Untamed and Free, because it was such a crazy experience. But at the same time, I was walking like on roofs that were on the ground after that tsunami. I survived through a miracle, basically. And that's when you know that it's your essence that sets up what's going to happen to you. But yeah, it's interesting that they say here, they refer to it and they say 500,000 people did not die there. It was much less. Now, there was definitely devastation. I saw with my own eyes, and you probably guys have heard about this. If you watch any shows, they were like for a year, probably the entire world talked about this because so many people did die. So it's interesting they refer to that. All right, so Lorraine. Okay, a question from Mel. Is this the time of revelations as described in the Bible? If so, did the dark leave this information in the Bible to scare us? Me. So the Bible, we've already spoken about the Bible being a product of a reset. So the Bible itself is not a manual. And in the US, we say it's not the Bible. Because we normally, when something is the truth, we say, oh, it's the Bible. So in this case, even the Bible is not the Bible. So it's not a manual. It's not like most of it has been manipulated. At the same time, there were light codes that were left in the Bible. And so there were things that actually are true that were left in the Bible. One of the things that in a way are true, even though it's not quite the way this is described, is this revelation. But what is it really? Is the fact that both the light and the dark have known about us taking down the game. So the dark in this case has kept this piece of information in the Bible, not meant in the way that we are wanting to experience it, which is, this is good, it's good for us. I mean, it's unfortunate we've had to do this, but it's good that we're moving on to happier realities. They kept it in there to scare people, to talk about judgment, to talk about, behave a certain way so that you get a chance to go to heaven and don't go to hell. So again, they've twisted it to become a scare tactic. So in a way, if you want to think of it as this is the time of revelation, yes, because of course, that's why it was left in there, because they knew, everybody knew. Everybody has known that we're going to take this down, but it's not quite the interpretation or the twist that the slant that they want to give to it, which is, we know what it is. We know what's happening. We know we're moving on and we're going to be fine. But in the Bible, it looks a lot more dire, and they were laughing. Clea is not even aware, has not read the Bible, is not even aware, but basically we're telling her that it's not good. It doesn't say, it's not a happy occurrence necessarily the way it's described in the Bible. So she will have to check that out. And they were laughing because, I've heard of Revelation because, of course, in the last couple of years, I've heard people, doing intel, talking about this time of Revelation. That's all I know about it. I don't know what he said. So I assumed it was just that they know that, we're taking this down, etc. But it sounds like it's a lot more dire than this. So not quite the same comforting words that we get from the 25th. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.